So, in order to understand this, narcissistic rabbit hole of the mind games and tactics they have, we actually need to understand what those tactics are. So, you have to actually dive deep into this weird wonderland that they kind of create, where their logic is just like absent. It's like silent in there. That's why it's so important to understand the narcissist's tactics and how they can turn any conversations into a circus. Where the narcissist likes to pretend that they're the ringmaster. And you, unfortunately, you're the one that's always jumping through hoops. And you'll find these toxic conversation tactics that narcissists use. It does feel like when you're in there in the middle of them, it's trying to like navigate a corn maze in the dark. Only thing is, like every corner, every turn that you make, it just makes you more and more confused, makes you feel more and more lost. And you find that these circular conversations that you get stuck in, they spin you around like a merry-go-round that's just had the thing cranked up all the way to warp speed, warp 9. And then the word salad is just kind of tossed up like some crazy Swedish chef. I don't even know what the ingredients are. I don't even know what we're talking about. Like this chef's gone wild. It's gone rogue. And their attacks, they come at us like, they're a pie throwing contest in a slapstick comedy. When you actually look back and realize how nuts these conversations that we had with narcissists actually were. Is looking back, none of it actually makes any sense. And you're left wondering, if the exit was just a figment of your imagination. Like, is there an actual finale to any of these conversations? Or is the goal just to keep you spinning? Because you'll find it's just like a debate over the grocery list. All of a sudden it becomes into this debate over, what you wore at your high school prom and who your boyfriend was and whether or not you made out in the limo. None of your business. And the two are not related. And yet there you are, debating it. So just be aware. Be aware that like when a narcissist tries to discredit you or tries to confuse you, could be because it's kind of like the narcissist motto to do that. And just feel like, they're playing darts in the dark. Just throwing everything they've got in hopes that something will hit a mark. Meanwhile, you're just kind of standing there going, what the hell is all of this? How nuts are they? And at first, we're kind of sensitive, so it feels like all of their jobs are just kind of finding their way and sticking to us like Velcro. But eventually, we see that this is just nonsense games that are just kind of being played. It's like I'm not even going in the room and forget about this Velcro suit that I'm wearing. I'm not wearing that no more. It's like forget it. It's like, when we talked about, how dinner was at the restaurant that we went to become into debate over the dessert choices of the last wedding that we went to and how horrible they were. And what a horrible friend they were for inviting us. It's like, how does that happen? It just does. And when you look back, you go, wow, that was a trip down crazy town. That conversation made absolutely no sense. And it didn't. But thankfully, in the ability to look back at just like how these little verbal jousting little antics that are being played are constantly being played out, it's not coming from a very stable mind. So of course there's never any resolution. And the whole tactic of all of these stupid little games is to make you the problem in a narcissist, story. How's that possible that you're to blame for everything all the time? Like, they can't even take any accountability for themselves. It's like they just can't look in the mirror. And yeah, narcissists are supposed to love looking in the mirror, but they don't because they don't like what they see. So they don't look because as long as they don't look, they're amazing looking. Super smart, intelligent people in their own fantasy mind. That's where you realize that any little disagreement with a narcissist just triggers this avalanche of blame. It's like this false world that they've created. It's just kind of like snow on a mountain peak that just needs one little rumble, one little bird landing on a tree stem to knock the whole thing down. That's how fragile their entire facade is, their entire existence. And when that avalanche hits, it's just like it buries everyone underneath. It's full of accusation. Like someone else is always the root cause of everything that ever bad that's ever happened. Every one of their bad little mood swings just creates this global unrest. World War 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's like you dare serve peas, with dinner. All of a sudden becomes this onslaught about, how you ruined our vacation in 2021. Right? Because at the resort, they had peas in their spaghetti sauce. Who does that? Peas and spaghetti sauce. It's like, it's nuts. But it's their nuts. It's not ours. Because what you're going to find is in these twisted little conversations with narcissists, it's just like it is a theatrical production. These conversations are not exchanges of ideas, but more of a performance. Where narcissists, all they really care about is being in center stage. Leaving you as if like you're the audience who didn't even buy a ticket to this show. And yet they're always on the stage looking for attention, creating drama. with everything, and realizing that nobody actually cares about their drama. You realize that these conversations with narcissists, they're not a dialogue anymore, but they're a narcissistic monologue. And over time, what you realize is the plot twist in every single one of these monologues has become so predictable that they're actually exhausting to listen to after a while. So a way for us to protect ourselves is important to avoid feeding that supply. It means for us to make that conscious decision not to throw gasoline on a bonfire. And the way we realize that is the only way to win these arguments is just not to play at all. Yeah, they're always going to be looking for a debate. If they want to debate someone, hand them a mirror. You want to debate someone? Debate yourself. Because that's what it feels like. You're debating yourself. If you love the sound of your own voice, then go you listen to it. I don't have to listen to it anymore. I'm not available. And don't leave a message. I don't listen to voicemail. That's a reasonable response. Well, it's so important for us to prioritize just our own self-care more and more and more. Because it doesn't just become an option. It becomes like a necessity for our own survival. Especially when we're dealing with a narcissist. It's like our energy is what we need to protect. And the more and more moments that we kind of create for ourselves away from their chaos, the more strength that we can find. And the more we can find like an oasis in the desert of this toxic landscape of theirs. Because they're just so full of nonsense. Because we can't choose to exit their storm and find these little serene places, these little moments more and more, where our thoughts are our own, where our peace is our default setting. And by understanding these narcissistic tactics, it's like they're not about you, but a reflection of a narcissist's own chaotic internal landscape. And by understanding that, it helps us detach from getting sucked into their void, into their black hole of evil and nonsense and crazy making. Because you're not the villain in the narcissist storyline. Yeah, they love drama. They'll create a pyramid of drama. You want to stand on the top of that pyramid. Let them. They're not going to be the audience for that anymore. Because you actually have a choice. You can choose the path that you want. And you can use the one that's draining you and hurting you, or you can choose one that leads more towards growth and healing and well-being. And for a while, it's like, yeah, we kind of got used to making the wrong decisions, but more and more, we're going to make less wrong decisions and more right decisions. And when you get stuck in these toxic little voids of conversation, it's important to start turning down the volume, even hitting mute on occasion. Because the narcissist's chaos is like a machine. You realize that the narcissist isn't able to fulfill your needs. They aren't able to make you happy for any length of time unless there's strings attached. But the one that can consistently make you happy is anyone but them. And most true is you can find your own happiness. Because navigating through this, we start to recognize that life is just way too short to spend in these endless debates about nothing. With a narcissist who only sees your value as a reflection of their ego. If you're propping me up, then you have value. If you're not propping me up, then you have no value. So what you're looking for is not a partner, you're looking for an audience, someone to validate you. In which case, it's just like, I hereby resign from that role. Here's my resignation letter. Because our story through narcissistic manipulation is the story of our life, where we become the author and the director. And in time, what we realize is we decide who the characters are in our life, who we're going to welcome in and who we're going to say no to. Who do we bring close and who do we leave in the background, like far in the background? And what we're finding through conversations with other people is just like these conversations should be bridges of understanding, not battlegrounds for manipulation, especially ones to feed insatiable narcissist ego, which can never be full. They're never full. We just realize it's just not worth it. That's where we can start to reclaim the narrative over a narcissist and ensure that we're the one that's that our story is the one that's worth telling. We realize that we had the power to close the book the entire time. When we find ourselves in these narcissistic, conversation loops from hell, realize how unhealthy they are. And their crazy making suddenly infested us. But it's not our crazy. It was always theirs. And to reclaim our sanity, it's just like we need to just kind of remove all the crazy that wasn't ours. And once that happens, it's just like we're back to where we were before we even encountered them. Because in the face of just destructive communication strategies like this, it's just like there's nothing there that will ever get resolved in any meaningful way. So we learn to protect ourselves and take our own lives back. If you're new to my feed, let me introduce myself. My name is Miles, and I'm a hypnotherapist. And what I do is I help people that have gone through the narcissism recovery and help them recover and get their lives back. So if you want to know information about that, just type in Narcovery Recovery in the comments, and I'll post a link to my program. You can find more information there, and maybe we can even work one-on-one with each other. And I ask that you just, like, share, follow, do all the things the algorithm wants us to do.